Hello everyone. In previous video we checked how you can install and initialize Nomirun CLI, and in this video we'll create our first Nomirun module, and we will do it or run it in Visual Studio 2026. So first, what we need to do is to create Nomirun solution. So that is just a standard .NET solution that will contain our Nomirun modules. And if you remember from the first video, Nomirun modules are NuGet packages. And we will start here. So Nomi solution, new, and the solution name will be Solar Platform. So we're using Nomirun CLI here to create a new solution. Let's hit enter. And Visual Studio 2026 will open automatically. And you can see there's nothing in there. So it's just an empty solution. Now let's create some Nomirun modules with our PowerShell that's built into Visual Studio. And we'll create Nomi solution, new module, and we'll name it Solar Inverters. Let's create it. Let's reload. And that will create our new Nomirun module named Solar Inverters. And in here, you see some folder structure, which is pretty basic. So under the infrastructure, we have some gRPC. This is a dummy service, and we also have a dummy controller here, which you can see it's pretty basic. It just returns some text. So I'll just put a breakpoint here just for us to use later. But if we move down the list, we have mod ID, which is just internal file to identify the module. And then the important part are the last two files. The first one is JSON file for configuration, and you can see the nested structure here. We have at the top Nomirun, and then there is a module and the name of the module. So why is that? Well, that's because you can run multiple Nomirun modules into the same Nomirun host, and that will avoid any configuration collision. So if I want to add a config here, I'll just do config 1, right? So this is my config where you can put all your Nomirun module config in. So the last file here is a startup CS. And startup CS is where you register all of your services. And in here, you can see we have this register module service method. And here you could put your, let's say, database services. What's interesting is there is no main method in this because obviously Solar Inverters is a .NET library project. And now let's build this and run it on the Nomirun host. So I'll hit build. And now I'll run debug. And you can see Nomirun host runs, and it will load our module in. Obviously, a bunch of other things happen, but we need to allow this. But now here we are. It's running, and this is a familiar site. You can see quite a bit of ports here that our module is listening on, or our host that runs our module is listening on, rather. So let's explore this. So I will open up the clusters file. So this is the file that's created automatically. And what you can see here, our host exposes these ports. So the port 5310 is HTTP port. For HTTPS, we have a different port. For gRPC, we have another port. gRPCS, we have another port. And for the metrics, we have other ports. So why this? I think this is useful for driving what ports you want to expose publicly, what ports are internal, or maybe all ports are internal. So let's say within your Kubernetes cluster, you don't want to expose everything, and you can do this separately. So that's why all the ports are registered here. And let me close this. Let's open up now our browser, and let's go to this port, 5310. And I'll go to navigate to Swagger. And here you can see that we have a Swagger loaded. So there is no Swagger in our module code. That code sits in the host. So down below, we have solar inverter section where we have our own demo dummy endpoint, and you can see we can use a debugger to debug this. And if I go back, we see other endpoints which we can cover in the next videos, but those are Nomirun host endpoints and are useful for some information from the host. Now, the port that ends with 4 is a metrics port, and Nomirun host comes with Prometheus metrics, and those are exposed under the standard metrics endpoint. And you can see all the runtime metrics and other metrics so you can explore yourself. If you add Prometheus metric to your own Nomirun modules, you can also expose them here. Okay, I think this is a good first run. So we created a solution and our first module in Visual Studio 2026. In the next video, we will check how you can do another module in the same solution, but we will use Visual Studio Code. I hope you like this video and thank you. Bye.